Hi, what's going on guys? It's Almond. Welcome back to another Wizard101 video. In today's video, we're going to be doing a gear guide for a free-to-play friendly energy build. Now, I already have the min-max energy currently that you can have in Wizard101, which is 331. Now, if you want to go in depth on how I got this, there's already a video on the channel. But this is specifically tailored towards the players who don't want to be opening packs and rather go out in the game and farm this specific gear. Now, I'm only going to go over the important gear in my opinion. I'm not going to toss in some extra honorable mentions, but there's a few honorable mentions that I do want to include. In my opinion, these are the only spots you should be farming, just so you don't confuse yourself and go out and farm all the other pieces of gear from different other bosses. If you do enjoy this type of content, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, all type of stuff. Join Discord if you guys haven't. I appreciate everyone that does join the Discord, and it does mean a lot to me. And I appreciate everyone that leaves a comment or leaves a like on this video because it helps out with the algorithm tremendously. So if you guys haven't, do so and I would appreciate it. I actually have some slides for you guys today, as well as when it comes to like my traditional videos, but let me just quickly show you what the build looks like. So you will just have green warden gear, and it would be specifically the level 100 one. Now I know a lot of players didn't know that the level 100 one would actually drop, but it actually does, and you get that from the Spiral Cup gauntlet. So the Spiral Cup gauntlet will give you the hat, robe, and boots, and then the wand you're going to be using is the Ione focused one, but this is because I'm on a storm. Now, you will be using your school specific one that you can get. So if you're a death and everything like that, or like other schools, you'll still have the same energy stat. It'll just be tailored towards your school, you know? And then the Athame, we're using Aphrodite as well as Ring, so you can go out and go farm those. And then the amulet and deck, you can just realistically use whatever, but pick something that has a tier socket. It's a very straightforward build. Now, when it comes to the pet, you are using a Dapper Corgi pet, specifically a Dapper Corgi because you get +8 energy from there. And you ideally want to have a pet that has all the energy talents. Now, the only energy talents that currently exist are 20, 15, 10, and 5. And on top of that, you can put on a gold miner jewel if you want to get extra gold from while you're gardening or like doing other stuff. And then I personally have Mayfind, Fire, Ice, and Storm reagents. That's because I use it to get some Azoth as well. You don't have to have that, it's just personal preference. But since this is just an energy build vid, just focus on the energy talents. And then you can go out and go farm yourself some energy jewels, which we'll talk about in a second. You can only farm +1 energy jewels. The rest are from like packs or other sources. So we're not going to be including this because it's only the free to play build. So let's go back to the locations, right? Where do you farm all this stuff? Well, I actually own the gauntlet of where you're supposed to farm this stuff. And that's specifically Spiral Cup Gauntlet. Now, a lot of people, like I said, didn't know that the level 100 gear did drop from here. On top of that, the wiki doesn't even have it listed that the boss even drops 100 gear. So not many people realize this. But if you do the highest tier, which is around level 80 to 100, you can, if you're level 170, you're fine. You can still go in here. It's going to put you automatically on the highest tier. But keep in mind, the gauntlet scales depending on whoever's the lowest level player. So if you're farming with like a level 10 or something like that, you're not going to get level 100 energy gear from here. So keep that in mind. But yeah, get yourself a team together. It can be maxes, but any wizard that's above level 80 can join you on this and help you farm. But keep in mind, their drops are going to be tailored towards them. But yes, the final boss in the Spiral Cup Gauntlet drops you the gear that you're looking for. And that's just one of the many spots that we can talk about. But hey, if you want the min-max free-to-play setup, you can definitely just get it from here. It will take a minute. Just keep in mind though, because it is the Spiral Cup Gauntlet and there's a lot of fights in here. But if you already max, this is just a cakewalk. So that's another thing. Now, when it comes to the wands, you have to specifically go to the Fire Scholar in the Arcanum. Now, when you visit him, you can craft the level 125 wands and you can get the revered wands. Keep in mind though, you will have to craft the previous wand. So for example, if I want the Ione's focused wand, I have to craft the Ione's legendary sword. Same preface with the other ones. There'll be like a requirement because you use the previous wand in the next crafting recipe. So that's another thing. So it will take a while to craft, but I know not everyone has the time and patience to do crafting. It's okay. I still recommend that you do crafting in general, right? It's beneficial on your account, but I know not everyone's going to want to do that on all their characters. So that's very understandable. But what you could just do is just farm Aphrodite, and Aphrodite will give you the +10 energy wands. You lose 1 energy, but like I said, I'm including it as an honorable mention because the fact is, like I said, losing 1 energy can be, you know, a little bit niche, but I know for the purpose of this video, you're like, hey, might as well, right? And then for the Athame ring, you're specifically going to Aphrodite. Now, Aphrodite, back in the day, used to be a gold key boss. Now, after a couple updates, it eventually turned into stone key boss, and not everyone knew about this. Still, people question me about it. But yes, Aphrodite is a stone key boss. So if you've been saving your stone keys and you don't know what to use them on, Aphrodite is literally one of the main spots that you should be using your stone keys. Now, keep in mind, you don't have to have your school-specific Athame ring. Aphrodite drops universal ones. So if you ever get like duplicates of universal ones and stuff like that, toss those on your other characters and you're good to go. Now the energy stat is still going to be exactly the same. Like I personally use some of my characters have universal ones, and then some of my characters have the school specific Aphrodite Athame ring. That's completely fine, but the main thing is the energy exactly the same. Now when it comes to getting the jewels, what you can do is you can get the jewels from either Aphrodite, which is a good source, right? There's a possible chance of you getting the +1 energy from there, or doing some gardening. Now, I already made a seed guide, but I didn't include this in the seed guide because I didn't feel like it's actually worth you spending your time and farming these. Now, the king parsley, I do understand, which I did mention, right? So if you are gardening ultra king parsleys as well as king parsleys for amber and all the other sources, you might as well garden the ultras for the energy jewels. It'll be very useful, but like I said, you can garden the other ones, but out of all of them, I really just recommend gardening Ultra King Parsleys, because if you're a new player, right, you're going to need amber anyways to craft all the spells if you want to be more efficient. So that's just my opinion when it comes to that, but you can garden the other seeds if you like to as well. Now we can move on to the pet. Like I said, we did, as we already talked about, you just have to have the 10, 15, and 5 and 20 energy jewels, or the energy talents, I mean, on the pet. The other two talents can literally be whatever. Gold miner, I said, will be quite beneficial in my opinion, but you can also have a talent that gives you like fishing. That is completely fine too if you want to have like as a hybrid pet for fishing as well. You can also have what I have, which is may find bonus fire, ice, and storm reagents, because I have it on all my characters. So if I ever get lazy and I want to farm some Azoth, I just use that every time. I just activate the pet and just, yeah, you get put on a 300-second cooldown. So in that time, I just switch between all my characters, and by the time I rotate back, I can just keep doing it over and over. It's just something I do. You don't have to have that. Some people have like hatching peppers. Some people have the scout talents, right, as well. Some people have like the spellament ones, I believe, the retriever ones for the spellaments. So there's a lot of different things, right? And if you're confused on the whole spellament stuff, there's already videos on the channel regarding that too. And that's the basic premise of the gear set. Now we're going to be going over the honorable mentions. Now I don't want to keep this honorable mention cluttered. I'm not going to include certain stuff from like Mirror Lake or Waterworks. I'm just going to talk about the max like options, because I don't want to waste too much time when it comes to this. But one of the honorable mentions is just specifically doing the 5 boxes event. Now I've already made a video on a complete guide on the 5 boxes event like literally a year ago, and it's still completely fine to look at because nothing has changed. So if you want to, go watch that video and they'll tell you about the 5 boxes event. And at the time of recording this, the 5 boxes event is still going on. I don't know how long it's lasting. I don't know on top of my head. But if you want to do it, highly recommend that you farm the Avalon 5 boxes event. Now that one specifically, that dungeon, basically almost every fight has a chance of you dropping Green Warden gear. As well as the final fight does have perms, which I mentioned in the 5 boxes event guide. So if you care about the 2 perms of like the fairy mounts, you can farm that as well and get some Green Warden gear. But keep in mind though, with the Green Warden gear, you're only getting level 80 variants. So if you want the level 100 variants, that's why this is an honorable mention. But if you want the level 100 variants, you're going to have to do Spiral Cup Gauntlet. So keep that in mind. But like I said, every fight in that dungeon drops it. The Elite Battle Mage, Lore Master, now this is specifically the Lore Master in the Avalon 5 boxes event dungeon, not Lore Master in Dragonspire. And then of course there's Sylvia Spitfire, which is the boss of the entire dungeon. So you can do that. You'll get some energy gear from here, as well as you can go get those perms if you care about them still. Now another option is another gauntlet that I own, because I already have all the gauntlets in my house, which is the Grand Tourney Gauntlet. Now I still recommend this. It's still an honorable mention because I've gotten energy gear from here quite often. And the final boss in here does drop the energy gear. Now the thing is with this energy gear, it only has 18 energy on the hat, 23 on the robe, and 18 on the boots. Now if you compare it to the level 100 Green Warden gear, you can see the hat of the Green Warden gear has 21, the robe has 26, and the boots have 22. So it comes down to personal preference, but keep in mind the Spiral Cup Gauntlet is a little bit longer, and does take a little bit of time. So if you want something that's like, I guess like an easier to obtain one would be the pixie one, but it won't be as optimal as the green warden gear. Same thing with doing the 5 boxes event. You can do the grand tourney one or 5 boxes, but since at the time I'm recording this 5 boxes is live, I'd recommend doing 5 boxes because that's more important. It's more likely to drop from 5 boxes. But if 5 boxes is not around, I'd say do grand tourney. And then, you know, if you really want to min-max your energy setup, like the best free-to-play possible, then you should go do the Spiral Cup Gauntlet. That's just my opinion though. But from my experience, grand tourney has dropped energy gear like crazy for me. And I do want to have some honorable mentions for the Athames and rings. This is just a personal preference, right? Because I know not everyone's going to want to farm Aphrodite. But I wanted to include these Athames and rings just for the purpose of this. And these are like the ones that give the most energy. Now you can use bizarre ones. You can use other sources like the Avalon rings, whatever. But these are just the ones I'm going to recommend, which is specifically the Athame ring from the vendor in Vestralden. So go over there, craft these. They're really easy to craft from my experience. And the Thame gives you 2 energy and the ring gives you 4 energy. It's nowhere near as equivalent to the Aphrodite stuff. So if you want this as like a temporary Athame ring, till then, go for it. But the Aphrodite Athames and rings drop like crazy from my experience. So if you still haven't gone after like 10 runs, I'll be really surprised. But that's a thing. And yeah, that's the basic premise of the free-to-play energy build. Thought I'd make a video on it since 5 boxes is around like basically here. And it was requested from one of you guys, shout out to Pizza Man, for the video idea, because literally I wasn't even planning to make this video till he told me. So there's that. But yeah, hopefully you guys can get yourself a free energy set. But honestly, what I do is I just open packs. And if you're confused on what gear to use, like, you know, if you want to open packs and stuff like that, I already have a video on the channel about the min-max energy build, like the pay to win stuff. And I go over some honorable mentions of stuff. So definitely go watch that video if you want to go to the pay to win route. But this video was specifically tailored for those people who don't spend money on the game like that. Like they just pay for membership and that's it. So if you wanted to go through all this process and farm all this gear, go for it. But I'm not going to include the Waterworks gear that's farmable, like the Piggy energy gear. I'm not going to include the Beastmaster one. I'm not going to include any of the other energy sets because I don't think it's actually worth your time using those. I highly advise you to go do the Spiral Cup Gauntlet, do 5 boxes event, or do Grand Tourney Gauntlet. Those are the 3 optimal ones. And then beyond that, I wouldn't recommend anything else other than from packs, or if you want to use the fishing gear from PvP. And that barely gives you energy. It only gives like 2 or 3 or something. But that's why I'm only going over the optimal options. So there's that. But hopefully you guys enjoyed. Be sure to leave a like, subscribe, all type of stuff. Join Discord. I appreciate everyone that joins, remember. And I appreciate all you guys sending me video ideas. Like I said, I look at your guys' responses. I look at the comments. I look at your guys' DMs. I look at the pings. I'm pretty active in the Discord, so don't be shy to like reach out to me or anything like that. I even literally sit in the comments and some of you guys always ask me questions, which is always funny to talk about. But yeah, that's enough of that. Like I said, do subscribe, leave a comment, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Peace out, guys.